I came to the United States when I was 7 years old, and I became a citizen when I was 20. But I am on this stage to ask you if you will give me 3 minutes of your time. I will give you 300 years of American history that has been taken from you. There are 5 crops that changed the world as we know it: bananas, coffee, tobacco, sugar, and cotton. First grown by slaves in the New World, these crops all happen to also grow in a little bean-shaped country that my parents lived in near the Caribbean called Cuscatlan, the land of precious things. It would be named El Salvador in the 1800s. But the precious things remained after the name changed, and the people were captured, and they were forced to work for pennies on the dollar to dredge the precious things from the soil and the sea and the mountains and the sand. Cuscatlan was not precious just to us, you see. It was coveted by the Americans, and once they saw our jewels, they would never be satisfied again. The people suffered, and how we suffered! Dying in the fields, raped by their masters, buried in the shining black volcanic sands, their blood fertilizing the crops of bananas, coffee, sugar, cotton, and tobacco. Until one day, the people of Cuscatlan said we could bear it no more, and they broke their shovels in half, and they plunged the stems into their masters, and they rode through the streets on their masters' Spanish horses, and they cried out that Cuscatlan would no longer belong to the American companies that demanded their precious things without paying precious prices. Perhaps soon those business leaders would learn to negotiate for the labor and crops they so needed. And the Americans could not stand it. They would not abide such a story be told. And so you never heard it. The American companies and all their corporate masters came down on Cuscatlan with a fury seldom seen before. They killed everyone. Instead, you heard a story about communists and terrorists in Central America, spreading a disease that would destroy your country and families. You heard a story that we have no goodwill towards you, that we wanted you to starve, that we were lazy and formed gangs and were lawless and bore weapons to sell you drugs and to fund terrorism. But you never heard the story of Cuscatlan because it was a sad story, and sad stories do not sell fruit and coffee and cigarettes. No, they came to my country and they wiped out entire villages. The Archbishop Don Romero himself was shot by the military during his Sunday Mass for having dared to wonder whether the workers deserved some mercy. Assassinated for having dared to wonder. And he was left bleeding on the pulpit, even as worshippers bowed their heads. Everybody was killed. Everybody. The women with their children still in their arms. Anyone looking for cover. People who found cover. People who didn't. People who worked. People who had no jobs. Communists. Catholics. Those who didn't know how to read. Those who didn't know what labor rights were. Simple folks. Smart folks. And they didn't stop there. They went through the countryside and they killed everyone they thought that was hiding labor organizers or communist sympathizers. Banana Union men and women who they labeled terrorists. And in one village, we still only speak about in whispers called El Mozote, the Americans tied women and children to trees, and they threw their babies in the air and they shot them. Everyone was killed to send one message, and that was, a union is a threat to the American empire. Not one union man or woman will hide in your village or any other. And if you hid one here, now or ever, you will never breathe to hide one again. And I tell you this because I am you from the future. You and I, all of you, are very much alike. You worked very hard to pry the precious things you have from the ground, the sky, the water, and the ether. You all wrote stories. You filed insurance policies. You taught children. You rung people up. You made sure whatever story system they had worked. Not because you believed in it, not because you wanted it, but because it was all you could do. And in exchange, they offered you cheap bananas, cotton, sugar, tobacco, bananas. But I will tell you a secret. They were never cheap. They were precious. And so are you. And they stole you, and they stole us, and they stole it all, and they told you if you look the other way, you'd get to be satisfied and at least well-fed. But who can afford the luxuries of cigarettes or vapes or groceries anymore? Even that is being taken from you. And even if you have them, your food and your small pleasures won't satisfy you. Not more than knowing the truth about Cuscatlan. Not more than knowing the truth about El Salvador. Today, where our precious land once stood, they built a concentration camp called CICOT. And not just for our precious things, our people, but yours. Your citizens, your dissenters, your unwanted, disappeared into the hole that America built. And what will we do when they start building incinerators at the camps? What will you do when they open up mass graves? For our people, our most precious gift of all. Do not take my warning lightly. The story of Cuscatlan is not just from the past, it is from the future. The workers face the same enemy, and the enemy never had your interests in mind. From the moment they had you, the plan was to have a worker. From the moment you existed, it was to create another soldier against the people of Cuscatlan and the rest of the world. You were a commodity to them. But we have written you a new future. One in which we no longer point guns at each other. One in which our billionaires fear the land of precious people from learning that they are no longer precious things. Turn to me now and tell me you will not forget the last 3 minutes. You will never again be ignorant of this story, and you will not let it happen here. You will close the camps. You will destroy ICE. You would rather